has strong Airtel internet access here? We'll recharge for you, don't be scared. Sorry? This is Vivian. Madam. Keep your thing. Who is holding this? Is it too far? Open your camera. Open camera. No, stand there. It's fun. Yeah. It's not fun. Like, yes.
is the owner of it. Psalm 24 verse 1 says, the half is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. The half is the Lord's. Now, it means that whatever God gives is what will give you peace. Every other business are good, invented by human. But this is a gift from God, real estate. That's the reason why it's not everybody that buys land that can use it. It is only useful for those that God has ordained for them to prosper on it. All right, let me not go spiritual. Amen. But what I can tell you is this: calm down and invest in real estate. You will never invest. Now, as it occurs to you to validate what I said right now, that it's only one that gives high return on investment. Now, God was talking about the place of a thousand of cattle on 1,000 hills. Now, I talked again that because God is the creator of cattle, that's the reason why those who sell cattle, they prosper also. Everything God gives peace. And real estate is one of it. Majorly. Now, check it out. Most of the battles that happen in the scripture, in the word of God, they were fighting for one thing. What was it? Land delay. Even God was telling Abraham, he said, oh, yeah, start going. He says, I will tell you where to stop. He began to give you measurements of the size of land. Now, if real estate does not matter to God, you think he wastes his time giving people land. So if you are not started, even investing as a staff of an organization that is into real estate, you will have your fingers beaten years to come. In that, I remember in that investment chat in Roseberry with the MDG text, I told him, I said, one thing, he asked me a question, he said, what's that thing that motivates you to invest in real estate from time to time? I said, it's because I don't want to look unserious before my children. They have to come. But I tell them, I was part of those that developed this estate. And they say, Dad, do we have a place inside of it? I say, where? You see? Oh no, shameful. I consciously started investing by the help of God. From the time that my salary was 15,000 naira, my installment was 12,500 naira out of 15,000. My tithe from 15,000 was 1,500 naira plus 12,500 installment, making 40,000. How much do I have left? 1,000. If I die, I die, but I must secure the future. It took me about 3 years to finish paying that installment. But by the time I was finishing that installment, I didn't end installments at the end of 3 years with just one plot of land. God had already blessed me with many plots. I mean, I bought, before we had our first child, I received a name that we bought the property in, the name of your born child. That was about 12 years ago. In the name of the born child, to the glory of God, that child is about 10 years old now. She's over 10. In fact, by the time we get back to her, I forgot the name that I bought the property in. So we give her another name. So I tell my wife today that she's still only one child that we bought the property in. Amen. You didn't get that analysis. We bought the property in a child that we have not given. So there was no the place of putting picture, didn't put picture because the child had not come. By the time God gave us the child, 3 years after I bought the property, I'd already forgotten that I already gave a name. So we gave the child another name. So the second one came, forgot about it. By the grace of God, other properties have started coming, you know. So but one day I was just searching through the archives of the title and all of that, and I saw, no, we need this child to come to the world so that I can come and go and claim this plot to claim the plot. To claim the plot, just because of the plot. Okay. That's the truth. See, don't go into real estate without a motive in mind. Go in there to succeed. Having in mind that there is a giver who makes for success in it. Look at this great man, Andrew Kennedy. He's the man who started talking about all of the fancy ways of succeeding with people and getting friends. He was world's wealthiest steel magnate, and he invested heavily in real estate. This is one of the men that built America. These were king makers. They were never kings, but they made kings. This, I mean, the way we have somebody in Nigeria today that we know well that makes kings. That they say in one of the parties that with whoever they put down, that must be. This where not some of the men. And he was a steel magnet. He said something. He said, the wise young man or wage earner of today invests his money in real estate. See, these are things that when you understand some of the quotes given by great men who have gone ahead, you don't struggle in selling, because every of your work is not to control anyone, but you are tracing what you say to someone who has succeeded, and that's why you are giving a counsel. So I don't get people confused, or I don't market and beg you to buy. I only advise you. Tell me any kind of business that not puts money in, but I beat my fingers and I made up my mind. I won't do. I mean, at the time that when Pennywise came, I don't know if anybody have heard about Pennywise. Pennywise, talking about 2000 and 2000 and about 2000, 2006, 2005. That's about 15 years ago. Yes, Pennywise came, and people were to invest, put money inside, money would double, just like MMM. So it was another version of MMM that time. I tell you, we put it inside, man, because the truth is, life is a risk selling, but it is just sensible to take calculated risk. Did you hear me? Life is a risk, but it is not sensible to take calculated risk. Real estate is a calculated risk. Every other risk you take, you on your own. That's true. I heard from a man who, quote unquote, was not educated. He didn't go to school. He's a northerner. I said, and I always say, I heard the definition of real estate for the first time from him. He said, every other businesses you do are good, but if you want a business that is real, that you can hold and touch, he said it's real estate. He said that's why they call it real estate. It's real. You can touch it. So he was touching the wall of his office. He says it's real. I can touch it. Nobody can carry this one and wait. The big guy and go, I bet this house will get a one buy. He's a wealthy multi-billionaire, but yet didn't go to school. He was the one who told me the definition of real estate. So, every other business, you put money somewhere and it's on the system and you are watching your money. What if you sleep and wake up and you don't see the money again on the laptop? You have your laptop. You kind of, you strangle the laptop, you break it. You say the money should come out. Every other businesses you do, they are good, but the only business that is real that will give you peace is real estate. Now, you know, the economy has had, some challenges. One of it is the Beetle challenge, and those we saw the story of those who bought Beetle those years, and let's say the kind of car that's ready today. While you see some guys who will buy the latest car, maybe talk about Porsche, or talk about a Ferrari, Bugatti, what have you, and you have all of those cars in a rented apartment where you are paid 20 million per annum, and you are not the owner of a plot of land. You need to gather like 10 prophets, and they take you to a flowing river. A flowing river of ocean. That's the Hausa sponge. And they put you in the middle. This I'm saying, let me shock you. It is no tale. A recent research just came out that over 60% of householders on the island live in Ikeja. Over 60% of the landlords of some of those houses on the island, they live in Ikeja. When I say island, I mean from Lekki and the rest. Over 60% is the recent research report. Now, in Banana Island, over 60% of owners of houses there, they live in Ilukweju. Yes. It's not I'm live, I'm online. It's a research that just came out. And now you see some of those guys, you see when they talk, they talk with authority. Check them in the there. They're living a honest life. They are not now. Real substances don't make noise. You don't see somebody before your model, your role model, having 9-10 cars in the compound. I don't know that the house does not belong to you. What a shame. What a shame. What a shame. Like seriously. And one thing about wealth is this. It only goes to places where it will be well managed. However, those who can't manage it well, it will still go to them. But it has wings. It will soon fly away. So make today a day of decision that you will tie something down with promise. I'm a student in Unilag, and I'm rounding up my second master's there. I'm writing my project before the lockdown. And a research report came out, and it reviews that about 70% of those who own houses from the staffs of the school, as you call it, maybe like a sample. 70% of householders there are many staffs or the domestic staffs, quote unquote, or those, what do we call them, like the drivers, the cleaners, the security, the gardeners. They are the ones that own houses. From the remaining 30%, we now begin to share with professor. This professor is like less than 3%. Most of your professors are living in quarters, professors' quarters. And something came out at the time that one of the professors was to retire. And it was at that time it dawned on him that he doesn't have a place to go. He was to retire. So he can't run around again. So he begged the authorities to give him some time to look for a place to go with his family. It is not that the professor never had money to invest with, but everywhere was far for him. Come on, well, buy this place. No. No, what you man? You may go there now. Speaking for them, people with your travel bank. Now we know that by the letter, you speak for them, everyone come and go to Kurudu. No. What doing that? Kurudu is in the map of Nigeria. Come on, give me. Don't you have Banana Island? Or you have like, give me a name.
Bagada.
That is cheap. Like everywhere is, oh shit, come, I don't do that. You know, you don't see push. You know what? Some people ask you for one polished place, one big, one cute name. When you tell them the amount, you know, that's when it's going to face. About that, you just mentioned you want one polished place. See, the truth is this: the closer you dream to be in town, the more you hype your budget. I repeat it again. The closer you dream to be in town, the more you hype your budget. But the truth is this: every city was once a forest. Every city used to be a forest. And I tell people also that everywhere is far. It depends on where you are coming from. I mean, you are selling Omole estates now. If you go and market people in PI, they'll say Omole estates is far. If you go and market people in Ojoju, Beggar, they'll say, Omole, that's close to us. We are making sense. If you walk on the island and you are selling property in Bejuleki, it's still closer. But if you have your property in Bejuleki and you go and market people in some water, say, kilo day. But the truth is this: I told a man many years ago in Abuja, we're selling a particular property at the time. We're selling for about 1,050,000 outright and 1.5 million installment. And I told him to come invest in it. And the man said, well, he shall give me one big English. And I left him. Years after, we met again. So you told me at the time that you have a front with you won't be able to do something meaningful without funds. He said, it blew down my heart because you can't see the money evaporated, like evaporated milk. So I now said, what's that? He said, hey, but you know that place was far. I said, sir, I never told you to come and buy this property because of the fact that I wanted you to move there. Every time you hear property purchase, think investment first. I said, sir, in as much as I know that you live in town, and I wanted you to come buy a place which is in the satellite town, what I had in mind was very clear and simple. Buy and build 4 flats and give it out on rental. I said, sir, how much is your rent in town? He told me 1.5. I said, 1.5 million. I said, do you know that they give out a unit of flats, 2-bedroom flats, at that particular year? They give it out for 250,000. I said, if you put 4 on ground, that is how much? 1 million. Automatically, where you are paying rent for in town for 1.5 has reduced to 500,000. Because your tenants are the one punching your lifestyle in town. I said, no, but you didn't explain to me like this, that. I said, sorry, sir, it's never too late. You can still buy another one. Let's move on. Anthony E. is the CEO of Angel Books, one of the most impressive track records in all of real estate. He said, and I quote, to be successful in real estate, you must always and consistently put your client's best interest first. When you do, personal needs will be realized beyond your greatest expectation. End of quote. Put your client's best interest first. Your client's best interest first. And don't forget last week when they said something. We said that the lady said, for you to succeed, you must be genuinely interested in other people. Genuinely interested in them. Genuinely interested in them. So it's saying, put your client's best interest first. So when you are prospecting to your customers, make sure that what you are telling them is in their interests. Ask questions. You remember we said, let your words be rhetorical in nature. That let it be question-like in nature. So, like, how many families do you have in life? Or how many people do you have as members of your family? So as to be able to guide and advise on the number of flats or the number of bedrooms that you want them to buy from you. Their interest first. Their interest first. Their interest first. And I remember telling you at the time of a lady who told me about deal. I mean, that all her life she worked so hard, and herself and her husband have kept money together, and the son was buying property in his name alone. And at the time, she said, "Oh, I saw what you posted, but I'm interested in buying that property, but I don't think I can do it." So I told her, I said, our installment plan on the monthly basis for that house at that time was about 500,000 naira. Said, "Oh, let me get 500,000 naira every month." I said, "What can you do? Do you want to buy this property?" He said, "Yes." "What do you think you can do?" He said, "Well, let me go and see what I can do." I said, "You know what? Open up. Let me see your monthly expenses in a ledger form. Let's sit down and talk about it. Talking about our best interest, our interest. I mean, she's interested in it. Now, how do I make it achievable for her?" So eventually, the payment plan have to change for her. We have to put it into writing. I have to draft the letter. Now, after she be paying about 300,000 on a monthly basis for that house, and we worked it out. She told me, "Okay, I spent this on this, I spent this on this, I spent this on this." I said, "Oh, great." Now, with that Excel sheet, so I said, "Okay, can you spell to this amount for this property?" Not because of what I would benefit as option from her. Never. The dream of every real estate expert is to see people own their home. That's what gives them joy. Eventually, she was able to acquire the property. Interest. Don't think of your earnings alone. Think of how to gladden the hearts of your prospective buyers. Some people will tell you, "I want a corner piece. Can I get it?" Yes. If it is not possible, never promise them. But if it is true, please do it. Next. This from Armstrong Williams. Little boys who are African American investors, specifically in real estate. He said, and I quote, "Now, one thing I tell everyone is learn about real estate. Repeat after me. Real estate provides the highest return, the greatest values, and the least risk." It's important for us to know this. It gives the highest returns, the greatest values. Let me tell you about a particular building on Ikorodu Road. How many of you know Onepan bus line? Onepan on Ikorodu Road. All right. You should be observing one building called Adebowale House. There are some different offices. There is a Zenith Bank around Adebowale House, if not on Adebowale House itself. Now, I grew up to know that building. There's nothing that has changed about that building other than giving it a facelift. If anything changes, pattern. They paint it. Now, is there any bank that now came to put casements in front of it? On their side, anyway. On the other side, they've done maybe casement and all of that. Casement is when you see some aluminum stuff that they put together, like Lego and all of that. Now, the person who built the house is not around again. It's the children that's managing it. Now, the returns that the house brings, the person who built that house, the phrase, God speak to. What return is the bringing? That house has been there since 80s, early 80s. It's been there. Nothing has changed about food other than to be maintaining it. That's all. I mean, I say this seriously. My father tried a lot, and God will bless him in heaven. At least he left us as tenants before he died 31 years ago. My father, by his grace, I could count the number of buildings that God gave him before he passed on. And I can tell you for free that he didn't have one car until he died. But he raised children, at least one bus car. He's a polygamous, so one bus car before he passed on. So at least he entered the car of one of his children before he passed on. I remember that Volkswagen B2. LA5160 number. I'm talking about it something. When we are going for Christmas in my hometown, God bless my half brother. That my half brother will be the one to be carrying the first wife and the children, will carry them to our hometown, come back to Lagos again, come and carry the second wife with the children to the hometown. Just one car in the entire family. Amen. So it's a B2 car. But the lesson from this is this. Even though my father never bought one piece of car, but God blessed him with houses, that today, the only thing they do to those houses is to maintain them. And the time he bought, though we built those houses, some of his friends, they have probably gotten cars. Where are those cars today? I saw one powerful car beside Domino's on Toyin Street in Kenya. It's already, the tires are deflated, and it has already gone to meet the Almighty. And I looked at the car, I snapped it, and I said, God, the owner bought it many years ago. I mean, that car, I'm sure, is the owner of that building where they have water parks. The days of water parks in Kenya, that is a stretch people. It's a stretch people, but the people of that time, that when you see like this, you'll be wishing that your mother were married to your mother. Thank you for finishing that. But the good news is this: those who don't place a cart before the horse, who took time to invest in real estate, there's nothing they want to buy in any part of the world that they cannot achieve. In any part of the world, but the first step is this: invest in real estate. It provides their returns, the greatest values, and the least risk. One of my very senior friends told me someday, nothing I want to buy actually that I can't afford today. He said, all I need to do is just to go under my bed and remove one of the papers of those properties I bought there and turn it to liquidity, to liquid cash. One of those days, by privilege, I went to dedicate one of his mansions. He will just, if he needs 50 million, now, he knows which paper to bring out. And he just posts that he wants to buy, he wants to sell so land. Once they buy it, he goes to cash. For anyone I like, I just want to take under my and keep buying some more villages. He told me a story. He said when he got to that place where he stays now, he said he went there as a youth corper. When he got, it was youth service that posted him to that community. He said when he got there, they did 1 year service, and many of his friends decided to go to town when they left the village. He's in one of the municipal council in Abuja. So many of his friends decided to go to town. And he said, he prayed that should he go to town, as God told him, he said, stay here, I will bless you. So he decided to stay. He said, in a short time, some of the indigenes of that community started coming to ask that you borrow them money. At least, can we get this, maybe 1 million from you? How will I get 1 million from? Just to borrow. You know what? This is our collateral. So they'll drop land documents with him. He can give them 300,000. They'll go and sort out themselves. That 300,000 was savings from his salaries to give them. They'll go and use the money for what. And sometimes some of them will come back and say, I can't use this your money back. Can you just go with the paper for the land? That's how I started acquiring. There was a time we had a transaction, our company and him, just one transaction. We bought the land 70 million in 2010. That was 10 years ago. 17M, just one of those lands. So when I am saying this, you should understand where I'm coming from. That was a couple of many years ago. At the time he was telling me his story, he said, Pastor, if they give me a blue passport, I will reject it. He said, if they give me a blue passport to leave this place, I'll reject it. You know what the blue passport means? The American passport. He said, this is where I will die. Already made. And the facts are there. The next one, from within draining bread, professional presidential candidates protecting individuals from corporations. He said something like this. He said, real estate is the best investment for small savings. More money is made from the rise in real estate values than from all other causes combined. Real estate is the best investment for small savings. For small savings. For small savings. I've said it here before now. You can buy car as a whole, but real estate, you can do picture by picture. And I asked you that day, that can you buy there today? You can buy one tomorrow, and buy better day after. I'm going to buy what do you call it now? Well time. It was small savings. Real estate. In real estate, you can buy 10 blocks today, buy 50 tomorrow, buy 40 day after. Go and be dropping it there. Just be consistent at it every month. Give it 12 months. Forget. It will amaze you what has happened. Now, the good news is this. When you do that a piecemeal, at a time, you can sell as a whole. What does that mean? All those 1 bag of cement today, 10 blocks tomorrow, 50 blocks day after. By the time you eventually complete it, you can sell that unit of house for 50 million at once. That's how some people raise capital for other businesses. For car, the truth is this. Any car that cannot carry another person is a car. It's bangolo. See, God forbid, if you see a car backside accident before, how will not matter to you? You just see, especially some of these new model car that is plastic. It is plastic. So what is in there? Invest in real estate. Now, I am saying all of this for you to understand the place of how not to get stuck when we are talking to your prospective buyers. Because a number of them actually need to understand what is in real estate for them. However, it takes a man that is empowered to empower others. You need to be empowered because there are some people you need to lay hands on them before you their eyes will be open. You see what you are saying? That's the truth. Some people work so hard, but just to buy a plot of land is a big deal for them. Not that the money is not there, but because their eyes are closed. They can't see what you're saying. As a realtor, you must get to understand that everybody is using something. And if you don't use something, somebody will use it for something. So you're either using Jesus. You work outside. Yes, sir. So you are either using Jesus or so. Yes, that's it. Is when they remove the J in front. So the remainder. So you can't be in the middle. You must use something. So I advise you to use Jesus. You can succeed in any other businesses other than for you to know your source. And any other businesses that you see out around yourself, many of them take strength from real estate. You see so many of them in now today, they are real estate businesses. Many of the banks, they own many of their complexes or their buildings is real estate. Some of them, they build some other malls or complexes and they rent it out to other organizations and they still make their money from it. What do you think banks do with the money you save with them? You think you just go buy T-bills or you just go buy, you fix your money and you say you want interest? Where do you expect them to get the money from? They use some part of the money, put into real estate, buy and resell. So they can get returns and pay you your interest on whatever you're expecting from them. So real estate is the best investment for small savings. So you can be doing it little by little before you know it. You are hard away. Okay, let's look at top options. They are sales leaders, and they said this. They said real estate is a contact sport. It's a contact sport. What does this mean? It's a contact sport. If I desire to have my children married from the Fakadikas family, that's the end of it. What do I need to do? What do I need to do? Okay, if I do the same, let me tell you what I need to do. Very factual. I just need to pray harder, work smarter, save up to buy a property around where he lives. Finish. There is no way I will be his neighbor that I won't have contact with him. There is no way I will be his neighbor that my children will play with his own grandchildren. Real estate is a contact sport. There is no way I will be my neighbor and won't jog and jam one day. Jog in the morning or in the evening. You shall jog. If you don't jog by force, something will push you out to jog. Amen. Eh? You will think, Papa, why are you looking for you on the wire? It's a contact sport. Anybody you desire to connect with, just save up to be their neighbor. No matter who they are. I mean, one of my most respected leaders in the world of real estate, he told me, he said, it's my neighbor. You will know that that's the reason why you went to buy a house there. It's a contact spot. Wherever you so desire, at least they live on the earth. Just find out where they are. You can connect. You just need to work hard, work smarter. Through real estate, you meet them. Next. Franklin Roosevelt, president 4 times, and he led the United States through a depression and a war. Now, this great man, so much about him. He said something in real estate. So real estate cannot be lost or stolen, nor can it be carried away. You know, this quote is equal, but we prove it wrong actually. Real estate cannot be lost or stolen, nor can it be carried away. Purchased with common sense, paid for in full, and managed with reasonable care. It is about the safest investment in the world. End of quote. Trace to Franklin D. Roosevelt. But in Nigeria, something happened. It was one of my professors of housing that told me. He said he went to he said when you want to invest, make sure that you invest in a secure place. He said he went to buy a property somewhere and decided to put the fence there. So he fenced it around, put gates. The next time he was going to go there, he was searching for the place. A place that you have put fence and gates. You know how ethical with this country. You know, they didn't demolish his fence. There's a way they can remove your block. Put it down one by one. They have time. They move on the block to the center. What they call it 1-2 block way. 1-2 block, Baba. They remove the gates. You understand it? So when Frankie Davis said, real estate cannot be lost or stolen. It can be stolen. He said it himself. He said, so when you ask people to invest, he said, tell them to invest in a secure place, in a secure location. It's very important. So let's move. But however, it's about the safest investment. The good news is this: even though they will remove on the store his fence and gates, but the person who stole all of those things could not wrap the land and put in the pocket. The cement is land there. That's the good news. Even if a building is burnt from head to toe, the land is still there. It can't be burnt. Except for natural disasters, earthquake, and whatever. And in those cases, you are well compensated for it in an organized. I have to finish that. Next, Grover holds the records for metals and fiercely protected and executive branch. He says something. No investment on earth is so safe, so sure, so certain to enrich his owners as undeveloped real estate. I always advise my friends to place their savings in real estate. Near some growing city, there is no such savings bank anywhere. No investment on earth is so safe, so sure, so certain to enrich the owner. You know, one of my friends told me one day, you know, as God begins to increase you, you'll be placing friends that you look up to around you. He told me one day, he said, Pastor, let's say the street. When I collect rent, it's like I did for the ritual. Okay, you are expecting rent from like 10 people, and God will help you. The rent of one is due in January. The second is due in February. Another is due in March, April, May. Oh my God. Okay, why are you doing that now? Stay there, invest for real estate. That's true. There is another man that I know. If I'm in the 60s now, our company had a business transaction with him sometimes back. And this man said, hey, I believe you know, when God has blessed you, there's a way you talk, it changes. You don't struggle, you don't shout again. He said, again, once you discover that the place is genuine, bye. He said, see, some of the properties God has given me around, you know, I wanted when the places were not to write on about. Now, this man I'm talking about, he does not use Tokumbo. Neither does he use Tosabo. He only drives brand new cars alone. If it is not brand new, you won't see him inside. he said when he started investing in real estate in Abuja, Abuja was nothing to write home about. How many of you have gone to Abuja? Abuja. Okay. Now you see how Abuja is. It's one of the most beautiful cities in Africa. As of today, it's not that it's the bad thing that Nigeria does that they always talk about. Don't talk about it. Abuja is one of the most beautiful cities in Africa as of today. He said when this Abuja started, a number of people never believed that Abuja will come to be what it is today. He said when he was working in one of the government parastatals at that time, he said they were hawking Abuja land to their office. You look at it. They put layouts inside train. And the way they are saying that somebody should come and buy Amala or Eba, that's the way we're hawking land into people's offices. Say, come and buy land. Come and buy land. Okay. So that's how they began to do all of those things. You know what happened? He said some people were saying that Nigeria was so scattered those years, about 1982, 83. He said he said, even if Nigeria will divide, at least they will give us notice and everybody can sell whatever they have to go to their village. So he continued to invest. Now, at the time he was telling me this story about 2011, 2012, he took me to some of his properties. Some of the places he bought as ranks then are now located in Minister's Hill in Maitama. Minister's Hill. That's the most primest, one of the primest in Africa today. Some of those land he bought as ranks then, where they were putting couch. I saw the place in Use 2, about to pay away. He collects rent from the place. The Minister's Hill, he collects rent from the place. He took me to Asokoro, Gariki, Area 11. Also, this man is just chopping the money everywhere. He said, "Do you know my best friend now?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "The calendar." You don't understand. What's he looking for in the calendar? To know when your rent is due. But this was a man who deferred his gratuity. And that's one missing link in today's world. Many of our youths, they do not know how to defer gratuity. Suspend today's pleasure. Yeah, you will still wear Gucci. In fact, you will even use Gucci man claim. Just calm down. There is time for everything. By the grace of Jehovah, there's nothing I want to wear today that by the grace of God, I can't wear confidently. That I know that it's not on credit. I've paid my dues. All the bills. Okay. Madam Shalom, are you ready?
So please, you're not supposed to create a platform and share. You might have a way of like platform. So I try to share, go there now and share. Now, you don't have the mind. You are just like one.
sharing on a custom system. No. We are not lying. Yeah, sorry. I don't know. You're not saying that. Think are you? Maybe in our settings. You're live. We should work on this caption. This thing can be shrink. This thing can be shrink to look more professional. So shrink the text. But you're saying this text styles, you should shrink it and shrink the text. It's always looking non-professional this way. You know, 50% discount. 50% discount. 50. Wait, 29. 32 people live. Ah, I swear. Ah, it's all Jima. You know, see, we're seeing 16 people live in our house.
That's Facebook Live. Is it Facebook Live?
Ah, did not change the title.
From details the version.
No, you can continue training us. We go live on Facebook, but you can continue it.
I hope we have been value. You know, one thing I've said about some of our classes is that it should be more examples of people who have gone ahead than books. I've seen that just like that. Anybody said one day, he said people tend to remember examples than the title of the message. So somebody invested, he got this, somebody did this, made this mistake, this will guide us. So we don't do the same thing again. So I'm waiting for Mr. Dami. This is Loto. Alpha. I'm not saying your handle. You are still waiting. Okay. It is well. Amen. It will happen. Anybody wants to drink water, you want to wee again, right. Pizza break. They can tell the empty. There's a pizza break. The thing is all about it. Which I like this break was I looking at me. It's just I'm not loud. I like this break. Yeah, you are doing well. But pizza is too small. Oh, say that. You can see the pizza plate. Hallelujah. God answers prayers. What are we saying? Amen. We serving God who answers prayers. But I started from here. I started from here. Oh my God. How many people have read about Fanny Me and Fanny Man? Freddie Mac. I told you the other time. Oh, you done? Oh, great! I like that. I like that. Did you pick anything from it, sir? You picked a lot. We'll discuss it after this. That's the basis for our conversation. You know, it's always a good thing when you are discussing or chatting and you are on the same page. There's a lot to read in this page, but you must understand how it operates. There are some things that nobody can explain to you. You have to read it yourself. When you read it, they will not start discussing something you want to coming out. You can now apply those things to how it is applicable in your country. You understand? There's something called land pooling, for instance. Land pooling. How many people have heard of land pooling? Land pooling. Like they have heard of it. See the way they are handling donuts. What's happen now? What did they bring these donuts? Let's settle down, please. It's time to go. I don't want to keep you more than necessary. So that we don't go all right. Please control the sound of your mouth because I can hear you. Let your mouth be on silent mode. Are you ready? Okay. Moving forward. Number 9. This is Ariel Martineau, a pioneer for women's rights, and she was a female journalist before that was a thing. All right, she said something. She said, there have been few things in my life which have had a more general effects on my mind. That's the possession of a piece of land. You understand? There have been few things in my life which have had a more general effect on my mind. And that's the possession of a piece of land. Something that has had great effects in our life, all through our lifetime. And that's only a piece of land. So women's rights. Now, some people will tell you that because they are women or they are female gender, they do this now. Their husband. Now, let me tell you, my mother, when my father passed on 31 years ago, that was this that I had. My father was so very loving. He didn't allow her to stress herself at all. Like I told you, my father had, by the grace of God, properties. But you know, don't worry. I was around. I looked at them when my father was angry with my mom that my mom went to buy things by herself. I thought, why you use your money to buy? Hey, when my father passed on, the reality dawned on her. True life story. My mother. She worked hard and God blessed her also. 2 years after my father's death, she bought her first piece of land. You know, I mean, polygamous home. 4 wives is the last. The reality dawned on her. So, our review is saying that irrespective of your gender, one good thing that she never regrets doing is owning a piece of land. So tell those women gender, tell them to invest. It is good to invest with your spouse, your husband. It is not bad if you own yours also. Next, Ivanka Trump. South Africa, president of the United States of America. Real estate is my life. It is my day job, if you will, but it consumes my nights and weekends as well. It's thinking of where to buy, what to buy, when to buy. Did you get that? There's when to buy, how to buy, from who to buy, what to buy, when to buy. There's always a when to buy. For me, rainy season is the when to buy. I remember the story of a particular man who said that he sold a particular property to a couple, the house. And he said, they bought the house, everything was going on well. When it started, you that they were not doing well. Water entered their house. It was a flooded area. So the man just called the agents who that they got the place to. He said, we're having a family get together. We'd like you to just join us. And the student wants to come. So the agent went there. When he got to the outside of the house, he saw that everyone was flooding. And he was calling them. He said, everyone is flooding. He said, come in, sir. That's how we always came to. he said they packed his trousers and entered the house. He got there. He saw that they found all their properties everywhere. He said, I will sit down, Mr. So sit down. Hey, join us. Let's be packing this thing together. At least you collect the commission. There is always a when to buy, where to buy, how to buy, from who to buy. So that's what keeps our nights and weekends rotating, thinking of what to buy. All right. Anyway, for more information on this one, you see it in my book. Real life applicable lessons from real estate. There is a chapter in it that says what are those things to watch out for before investing in landed properties. There is a chapter for houses, That is what we watch out for now. So it's very important because if you don't know it, one question from a prospect will throw you off balance. So the question will now be, does my product meet all these requirements? If the answer is yes, you are good to go. All right. J. Paul Jetty founded Shell Oil and was America's first billionaire. How will you be if you are the first youngest billionaire in Nigeria? First female youngest. Remember the lady who passed on Aritile pilots, the first youngest combatant pilot. He became that pilot at 21. That break records also in your field. He said, and I quote, current real estate prices aren't high because they have been driven up by irresponsible speculation. As was often the case in the past, prices have risen because a constantly increasing population with money to invest has been created and continues to be created. So prices have risen because a constantly increasing population with money to invest has been created and continues to be created. End of quote. So the prices are not high because they have been driven up by irresponsible speculation. No. As was often the case in the past, prices have risen because a constantly increasing population. It will continue to increase. The population will continue to increase. So there will always be a need for real estate. There will always be a need for price increase because in so many cases you have too many demands chasing few supplies. You talk about housing deficits. As at 2011, a population census, although we still contested, was saying that there was about 17.5 million housing deficits in Nigeria, but housing experts are proving them to be wrong. Now, how can you say out of a population of 150 million people at that time, you just have only 17.5 million? It's not true. It's not true. Like in Lagos alone, when we have a population of, like, how much population do you think Lagos would be? Like over 20 million. 20, not less than 20 million. Okay? Now, you talk about housing deficits. Housing expert says that every single hour you have not less than 800 people enter Lagos per day. Not per day. Every hour, 800 people who have no business in Lagos enter Lagos. So, see, this is a fact. I have articles to that effect, books to that effect. 800 people. Now, it means that in 24 hours, 800 for 24 hours, because some of them don't they come and they do that. So they will come to different places. Some people come through other times, some people come through Badagry. Some people come through thank you, sir. All the openings, yes, they come in as in they are rushing Lagos. About 800 people per hour is what they captured. Maybe they didn't capture evangelism. Those who enter with careless, that's those truck where you can sit down. Those ones we enter too. So let's look at that they are 800 per hour multiplied by 24 in a day. Okay, let's say worst case scenario 800 per day multiplied by 7 days in a week. That's what 8 times 7. 560. 5,600 people enter Lagos in 1 week. That's worst case scenario. That let's not agree with 800 per hour. Let's say 800 per day. 5,600 enter Lagos. Give me 5,600 per week times 4 in 1 month. 22,000. Anyway, Caro Tamle Carosa, Korea should fall down. 22,400 in 1 month. Give me for 1 year. 22,400 times 12. Oh yeah, 22,400 times 12. 268,800 in 1 year. 268,800. Now give me for 10 years. 2.68 million. That is people who are supposed to come and visit Lagos and go out, but who stayed in Lagos. Now, how can you tell me the population of the same Lagos is 20 million or 23 million? And they do the population census today, sir. They do another one 4 years after, or 8 years after, or 10 years after. There are some people that they will tell you that they don't count people in their family, they won't allow you to count them. Those ones are plenty in the same Lagos. So when they call it 20 million for you, you're looking at 40 million or 60 million. So how many of those people have a roof over their head? Population is what is determinant of the prices of real estate. These places you are selling today as a company, let people begin to move to them those houses. Instantly you see how the market will rise. You'll be begging. That's what determines it. That's what they call getting was saying. It's not that somebody is off. Someone had asked the question before. How do you increase the prices you sell your properties? Is it that you just sleep and wake up and say that we are not selling this thing 10 years a day? It's now 25 years. This one of the key factors is population. At that point, you now have more demand, but less supply. At this time, if we want to sell for the same 10 million, so we want to go and buy from those who have it, and they'll tell you that they don't have it anymore. So you have to make do what you are. Population. All right. Jeff Gray, the 179th richest man in the US of all its real estates. He said, and I quote, in real estate, you make 10% of your money because you are a genius, and 90% because you catch a great wave. End of quote. Did you get that at all? Do you understand? Do you understand this quote? Or are they too deep? Is it deep? If it's deep, say, wait, yeah, deep. He said, in real estate, you make 10% of your money because you are a genius, and 90% because you catch a great wave. Are you explaining? Okay. See, the truth is, the more you have a heart of the lion, the more you can have your lion's share in real estate. That's it. Okay, if one of the capacity can invest in is maybe let's say in figure now, let's say you can invest, you want to invest more than 300,000. Somebody carries 300,000, can't he buy land? You can buy now. It's a location that will be different from the person with 300 million. It's the same 300, but it's just the number of zeros that's different. 300,000, like when you'll be looking at buying land. They are not a nice person. You know, that place is you need to publicize it and so on. I didn't know. IJ is expensive now. You know, IJ is expensive. Somebody told me about IJ yesterday. We got 3.8 million last year. Last year, 3.8 million. Last year. Well, as I say, it's after one Lagos Badon Express, one Lagos Badon Express. It's expensive. Close to, good, thank you, sir. As it says, it's 300,000. Sorry. No, Igbo is even more than 300,000. Igbo is in town now. There's that road in Igbo now. Sir, Igbo is expensive, sir. Thank you, sir. You know, Igbo is telling you that Igbo is expensive. Igbo is more expensive. I went to Igbo last year. Igbo is more expensive. It's a town road now. Built by one of these German companies. Town road, green road. Igbo. What are you talking about? Forget Igbo, my wife is from Igbo. Come on. I'm even talking to her that you can't see our family land. Come on. 300,000, sir. You were talking about Apple is even you don't find for 300 after no, you can't. Is expensive, sir. 300,000. It has come to nothing again.
You're talking about something that play after play.
Maybe like a common shop in your village. You get
I'm going to again. It's like, no, they ask it. You know, when we go to.
like 20 million. Like the better affair with like a place where you have to go very far. Like this was children you don't get it. So that's what he's saying. You want to make good returns. You have to go everywhere here. Like you don't want to sit around. Everybody you give your address to will think twice. You don't need to think. Like you may not have address at that time. You say stay under one mango tree. I'm coming. Third mango tree. Go and check out some places in Ikorodu that Ikorodu of today, when Ikorodu was just coming up. See the bus stops now, the kind of bus stops that you hear it. Odokuyo, organizer. Those were the names of the things they see around those areas. That's what they named it after. Nobody wanted to go there those times. Yeah, those were the land, thank you. Those were the landmarks at that time. But yes, some people still developed a great art, a lion's art to say, no matter what, let's just go there. Nothing there happen. It's a matter of time. So, but if you say you don't want to go to those places where they won't see you, where you have address, you have to increase what you want to invest in real estate. Because some people, when you say, what you are selling is 4.5 million, they say, what? What the fuck? I mean, that place to go that far? Say, okay, we have another place that suits you in town. You can still get like 30 million or 35 million. What's happening? So, okay, you can't just pick a habit. You either increase what you want to invest in and come to town, or you decrease it and go to a place where your family member will not come and visit you. It's very simple. That's what I'm saying here. So, in real estate, you invest 10% of your money because you are a genius. At least you invested, you get 10%. Somebody called me one day, and I think I was having a live program on social media, and the person said to me and said, no, I went to teach somewhere, I spoke somewhere, and the person said, excuse me, sir, I have a question. He said, why is my investment not growing? They say real estate is down. Why is my investment not growing? You know, he's a proud landlord. He built something, I mean, God has blessed him, built a place somewhere. He said, but it's not growing. I said, sir, sorry, sir. Can you tell me the position of the place? When he mentioned the place, I said, even if you mention the name of the area, you should know that it will not grow. Yes. You should know it will not grow. Don't go and ask us here that your investment is not growing. See where you went to buy. I said, do you have a canteen in your place? He said, not for now. Do you have pipe on water? Not for now. Can you drive to your property? Not for now. You have done well. You can do 10%. At least for now. But don't ask anybody. Go and sleep. These are investments that you do, that you pay them fight. You first go and sleep. It's when you wake up and you are okay. That's the time. So when you want to invest in real estate, the more you can put in, the more you expect to get out. So let me give you a good instance. So what this the Greek said is very profound. A good instance is the man going to build a standalone 4-bedroom house in, let me give you an instance of a place without prejudice or abuse to anyone. Let's give an instance of a place like Atlanta, after Canada. You will get a very lovely built standalone 4-bedroom with an attached BQ with large compound for rent. You will still get it around 500 to 700,000. Very lovely house. POP. And like this, okay, like this office building. 700,000. Now, let's assume that it took the landlord, it costed him about 30 million to construct the house. How many years will he need to recoup back his investment? 60. Like how many years? The rent is between average of 600,000. And he invested 30 million plus the land of 1 million, 31 million. How many years will it cost them? 60 years. 15, 16 years. 15, 16 years. Okay, let's put that 15 years. Let's assume that there's increase in the rates of the rents and so on and so forth. 15 years. Oh, perfect. Now, the same landlord carrying the same kind of money to come and invest in Omole, e.g., like this building. Exactly this building. The same thing they built in that Atlanta. Like, how much do you think is the rent? Huh? No, for here. Yes. 4-5 million. Okay, per annum. 4 million. Let's put that 4 million on the average. Yeah, this the same kind of building. Huh? 51 years. 51 years in Atlanta. Thank you, my accountant. You are sure. You are doing well. So if the rent is at 600,000 naira for somebody who invested 31 million naira, so it will take about 51 years to get the capital back. And 51 years, let's give them 50 years. Now, the same money, because the truth is this, the cost of construction is always the same thing. The difference is the location. See, the person who invested in Banana Island and the person who invested in Atlanta, most times, where the difference will come is the kind of foundation they are doing. Because maybe one is waterlogged and the other one is dry land. Okay? Now, and if you are not careful, you still go and build in Atlanta on waterlogged, and your cost of construction will still be the same thing, like somebody built in Banana Island. Now, this is it. By the time this person carries the same 31 million or 30 million, let's say 30 million for the cost of the same kind of house and the land, like how much do you think land will cost around here? Yes. Minimum of 50 million. Minimum of 50 million, but it's actually about 70 million to 80 million. But minimum of, let's average it at 65 million plus 30 million. 95 million. So that is the cost of building here. Plus approval and all of that, 100 million. Okay. The rents, about 4 to 5 million per annum. How long will it take to recover your investment?
20 to 25 years.
20 to 25 years. Can get it faster. How? Because there is fluctuation in the rental amounts. 1, 2. you can give it on a long lease. Instead of having 5 million first year, you can say on the average, I give it to you for 10 years. So that is 5M times 10. That's 50 million. Out of 100 million, 5 years you've recovered 50 million. So by the time the 5 years lease expires, the rent is not 5 million again. It's about 7 million. So I collect 5 years again, 35 million. 7 times 5, 35. So plus, so in 10 years, we've recovered 85 million from the 100 million. By the time you are taking the third 5 years, you have started cashing out. Another thing is this. If that's the case study of Rex, if you come to 500 square meter and do a terrace house of 1, 2, 3 units on 500 square meter, for instance, let's assume you bought the land for the same 80 million naira in Omole, and you need about between 80 and 100 million to complete the terrace. Let's say just fully finished luxury terrace, 100 plus 80, 180 million. You've delivered the 3 units of terrace, 180 million. Let's assume we are selling 1 unit, like how much normally? Sir? Terrace. Sir? Terrace. No. Terrace duplex. Yes. Like 4 bedroom with a big unit. Yes. Sir? It's more than 50 million. Two bedroom flats. So, but 4 bedroom terrace duplex. 80 million. Finished. It's between 80 and 100 million. You know money. Yes. Find out. It's between minimum, depending on the finishing. 4 bedroom terrace duplex plus BQ is between 80 and 100 million in money. Put it at 100 million. Multiply by 3 units. How much is that? 300 million. How much is your landing cost? 180 million. You cash out 120 million. Now carry the same money. And go to the same place we used the other time, after all time. You buy the land, maybe like that same 500 square meter. Buy like how much? Sir? Yeah, wicked. Is it 1 million? Let's try add something like 2 million. And like 2 million. Your cost of construction, you can't go and build. Let's assume that you want to build the same kind of a thing in that place. Let's say put that same 100 million. That's plus the cost of land, 1 million. That's 101 million. Let's factor in the land into the 100 million. Let's put that 100 million everything. Let's say the house, you reduce the cost. The land cost for 99 million plus land 100 million. 100 million in our total. How much do you think that terrace house will go for?
100 million.
No, one unit. Like how much will you sell? 5 bedroom, 4 bedroom terrace. The one you are selling here for 100 million. Yeah, no, guys, no. I mean, seriously. You still get for like 30 million. Yeah, like 30 million. Yes, I saw somebody said like 30 million, 35 million. Yeah, like 30 million. Okay, because some people will buy it because they are from there and they may want to be going there to relax. Maybe during Ilya or Christmas and block it when they're out. So 30 million multiplied